Hey everyone, Spirited Drop from the back of a taxi. Beautiful sunny Sunday here in Singers. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about what went down at our June New Moon Lodge here last night. So every month I hold a women's circle called the New Moon Lodge, and it's on or around the new moon, and it's for women only, and the net proceeds, if I'm hiring a venue or something, so whatever's left over from that goes into our charity pot, and it's a favourite. I've been doing it every month pretty much consistently for over 10 years, and I absolutely love it. And especially if I've got a fantastic, all the facilitators are fantastic, but when there is a facilitator coming in rather than me, because then I get to participate, and we had one such circle last night. So we had Addie Chan, who is a really powerful and highly regarded spinal energetics practitioner here in Singapore, and she came in, and we were connecting with our ancestral lineage via spinal energetics. So which is fascinating in itself, so any kind of ancestral veneration techniques, are very often psychic ones, where you or you make offerings at your altar and you remember your ancestors with your photographs and so on, and you leave offerings, or you psychically go into a deep meditation and connect with your ancestors. There's lots of beautiful ways to do it. There are rituals that open it up as well, which I've used from Scottish witchcraft, which I absolutely love. But this was the first for me using the modality, I guess, of spinal energetics, and my goodness, was it powerful. So it's a beautiful group of women gathered, and one thing I know about spinal energetics is that the few times that I've experienced it is how quickly you go into an altered state, and I think a lot of that's got to do with the facilitator, and the only facilitator I've experienced is Addie, and so you just you're lying on your back, sort of in Shavasana. Really, you can use a pillow if you want, and then it's Addie really that alters the atmosphere with what she does, and then we all move into pretty much an instantaneous journey. It's incredible, and every single person in the circle last night had a very profound experience, but they were all a little bit different. So one woman had a very clear feeling that her mum had joined her, who she'd been missing. Another woman had very strong bodily sensations of fizzing and popping and energy and localized temperature, and a couple of other people similar to me felt like they were sort of travelling through a collage of impressions, of different eras and different landscapes and different things before the journey settled into something more stable and more meaningful in terms of the meaning of it. And that's certainly what happened for me. So I was going in, I was getting a lot of really almost rapid fire images in my mind, and I tend to be quite clairvoyant. I tend to be visual of different places and homes and eras, and I felt like I was going way back as well. It didn't feel like sort of just grandparents. And then I was presented with what felt like a collective within my ancestral lineage, and it was like the witches and the seers and the healers, but they didn't come in sort of like a series of different faces. It came in it looked like an energy form, but I knew without a doubt that it was a collective of a particular subset of ancestors, and then that stayed in my sort of front and center of my awareness, with a very strong and very beautiful energy and feeling to it, and recognition and familiarity to it for the remainder of the journey. And we were under for sort of 30 or 40 minutes. And then beautifully after. On the other observation I had is that sort of, like all journeys, this sort of porpoise, you're going in and out of it, and there's a surging energy in it. And there were times when I was coming back up close to the surface, and I had this distinct impression that the room that we were in was very crowded. Like everyone's ancestors jammed on in. And then when Addie finished the session and we came back out again, the atmosphere in the room felt very spacious again. So there was definitely activity in the atmosphere. It was really fascinating. Then the other thing is we had these lovely little oracle cards in the centre, and I chose one before the session, but I didn't look at it, and I like to do that. I like to then get some kind of mirroring of a message, and my card was Celebrate All the Witches, which was absolutely perfect because that's exactly what I felt like was going on in the journey. But nearly everybody's oracle card mirrored the experience they had with their ancestors, which I found very specifically in themes, which I found fascinating. So tapping your ancestral lineage through Spinal Energetics is definitely worth checking out, and drop me a message if you want to know more about Spinal Energetics, and I can connect you with Addie. Restore with Addie is her Instagram handle, definitely worth exploring. Hope that's got you thinking. Okay everyone, bye.